The fight is not over. It seems like we got baited by the publishing magazine for two things. First is how the fight was going to end next issue, which it didn't. Second being the release of 2 chapters, kinda. We did get 2, but one of them is those goofy side chapters, not something that progresses the story in any way. However, Record of Ragnarok chapter 75 on its own was great, with some very interesting things to discuss throughout today's video. So I hope you enjoy, subscribe if you're a Record of Ragnarok fan, it's greatly appreciated. So even after Beelzebub used his Chaos Attack, one of the strongest moves we've seen in Record of Ragnarok so far, and when I make his dedicated How Strong Is video, this is going to be a major point on why he actually wins a lot of his matchups, as there was a particular reason of why Tesla was able to survive it. A lot of the other fighters in the series so far won't really have a way, which is something to discuss later on in my channel. Regardless of this, Tesla's zone is already back, and even though Beelzebub was the one who used the attack, it seems like he's more injured than the likes of Tesla, so the drawbacks of it are quite severe. But this also speaks to Tesla's character and how strong he actually is, a technique that had Zeus freaking out, Tesla's just surviving after it. Something that seems to be a common trend for a lot of the fights in Record of Ragnarok is how they end up being a war of attrition or endurance, with Tesla potentially having the edge on this apartment due to his Tesla steps allowing him to move very quickly with minimal leg strain. So regardless of being somewhat injured, he's able to move at pretty much his same speed due to his move, the Tesla steps. Meaning if he's in a long fight, his ability to sustain himself is on the high level in the series so far. Something a lot of people in the fandom are probably talking about was actually addressed during this chapter. Why Beelzebub doesn't just use the Chaos Attack again, as if he was, that's pretty much a guaranteed win. We have Zeus, who pretty much explains that he doesn't have enough strength in his body to endure another Chaos Attack, meaning if he was to use it, he would be destroyed, and most likely Tesla as well, and this I guess just enhances my theory of this fight being a draw even more. I don't think Beelzebub is going to be the one using the Chaos Attack again, blowing himself up. I think it's going to be Tesla pretty much turning himself into a nuke and sacrificing himself to take out Beelzebub, which I think he'll use if Beelzebub actually transforms, which we do have some hints for later in the chapter, which I'll get to shortly. But the next thing to mention is Tesla's trump card, his teleportation technique, something else that is one of the best in the series so far. Beelzebub and Tesla have shown some of the greatest and most OP abilities, as I've talked about in previous videos, and all this is just getting, I guess, more evidence and backed up by the gods watching. But we have Hades, who pretty much says the following: "No, that teleportation technique looked like it was made to catch the opponent off guard. Beelzebub possesses an incredible sense for combat. Now that he already knows that technique, he should be able to handle it." This could be used to say that once Beelzebub sees a technique once, he's skilled enough for that technique to never really work on him again. This is a pretty wild statement, but it speaks volumes to how skilled Beelzebub is. Regardless of it not being really drawn out in a clear way, we just know Beelzebub is simply built different, and this fight is definitely on the higher tier of clashes based on what all these spectators and reactions from various gods like Zeus, and now even Hermes saying this, who, yes, he's the commentator and says a lot of things in most of the rounds, but when he praises characters like this, it's normally correct and very important. From there, we once again get something else that adds to my theory that this fight is going to be a draw. Hades talks about how Beelzebub can be defeated, a power that surpasses even chaos. The Tesla coil, which I believe is going to be used for Tesla to blow him and Beelzebub up, or it could be used for something else, as Hades outright says there's no way to predict what's going to happen with the last coil still being in the game. So I think it's going to be a draw via them blowing one another up. Let me know what you think down below. As we've learned more about the Chaos Attack throughout this chapter, it becomes more and more clear of why Hades told Beelzebub not to use it. Due to it slicing up most of his body, Beelzebub's regular attacks being used via vibrations actually does more harm to himself. So if Beelzebub was to be cut in a fight and then for him to continue to use his vibrations, he is at a disadvantage, so that is probably one of the biggest weaknesses we've seen for Beelzebub so far in this fight. Him getting sliced up and then needing to use his vibrations, his default attack, being something that just outright harms himself as well. So now I'm going to talk about the most interesting panel we got for this chapter. The Curse of Lilith doing what I guess it's meant to do, stop Beelzebub from dying. But I also believe this is the Satan transformation or the Satan alter ego actually trying to come out, but Beelzebub's able to restrain it for now. Seeing that it's a demonic hand coming out of where Lilith actually put the mark, it's very clear that the transformation or the Satan within Beelzebub is trying to get out and take over, but this only occurs when Beelzebub is trying to throw his life away or get himself killed. Right now, according to him, he's not trying to die, so all the stuff previous to this fight about Beelzebub wanting to die and that's his current goal, that really isn't the case for this fight. He just wants to win, which is a little disappointing. I still think the Satan transformation is going to take over due to this panel right here, and when that actually happens, Beelzebub will enter a new level of power, just outright way above Tessa, and that is what's going to push Tessa to use the sacrifice method to take out the Satan transformation of Beelzebub. As such, the fight will be a draw. This little hints here and there, I hope is going to turn out the way I've talked about. That's what I think will be best for the future story, and this fight ending off with both characters getting, I guess, the shine they deserve. Beelzebub entering a state of power that's around the top of the verse, maybe get Zeus to say some crazy statement or something like that, and then Tessa going out like an absolute madman, which is shown even more throughout this chapter. The final panels of Tessa uniting humanity after surviving Beelzebub's new attack, which was very sick. This mad lad energy to the max, my boy Tessa. With us also getting this panel from some of the humans. No, it can't be. The devil is too strong. Is that them once again hinting at Beelzebub about to transform? We'll have to wait and see, but take this final panel of the greatness of Tessa and how he simply just tanks, survives that crazy attack from Beelzebub that almost killed him, and then proceeds to praise the ability and Beelzebub. Man is just a true absolute mad lad. In the earlier rounds of the fight, I wasn't too sold on Tessa as a character. He was a bit too goofy. But with this chapter and these lines here, he has cemented himself as a great character and worthy of going in the absolute mad lad tier, which I love to see. But considering that this chapter didn't conclude the fight, building up Tessa and humanity, I think next chapter is going to be the rise of Beelzebub and then Tessa sacrificing himself. But that's really everything regarding chapter 75. The only things we got in the special side chapter was, I guess, Okita getting more love. I think he's going to be the humanities fighter for round 9 against Loki. But we also got to see Buddha's candy stash, which is pretty funny. But that's everything for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, check out all the other stuff in the description. Shout out to the mad lads who support the channel via the Patreon. But that's it, guys. Peace.